Are you ready to lead with impact? Well, friend, you're in the right place. Today, you can join Carol Fairman and Dr. Guy Henry as they begin exploring what it means to lead with impact. So, pull up a chair, grab your coffee, a pen and paper, and get ready to have some deep conversations with Carol and Guy as they walk you through what it means to lead with impact. Welcome back to Lead with Impact, the podcast where we explore principles to help you grow as a leader and empower those around you. I'm Carol Fairman, joined by my co host, Dr. Guy Henry. And today we're looking at part two of coaching for growth. Whether you're leading a business, a ministry, or even within your family, coaching is a skill that helps you unlock the potentials in others. And we're going to pick up with the five key elements of effective coaching. So, Dr. Guy, let's look at active listening.
Okay, yes, that would be number one of the five.
Yes.
Uh, well, it's ironic because I think the more we dive into this concept of coaching for growth, coaching actually starts with listening. If we do good coaching, it starts with listening. It's not about responding, but really being ready to understand. When people feel heard, they're more likely to open up. And once we have people opening up, that's going to lead to better problem solving as a team. And so the next time someone maybe comes to you with a problem, pause before offering advice. Just take a breath. Like I've got five ideas already in my head before they even stop telling me what the problem is. Just take a pause and then ask, well, tell me a little bit more. You'd be surprised what you'll learn by what they already know about that problem. But we're so quick, usually we're not listening to listen, we're listening to talk. And so, which is, well, I'll kind of get into that with that leadership. But leadership, really, it involves listening. It's not
Yes.
just coaching, but leadership involves listening. I know that's something we don't talk much about, especially in leadership, but I believe it's crucial and very much, very often overlooked, that importance of listening. I think many discussions, about leadership, they always tend to focus on the speaking or the decision making or the directing, but listening is equally important. And I think it should be at the front part of that because it shows empathy, it builds trust with other people, and it helps other people understand the needs and the concerns and the ideas of others. By being a good listener, we as leaders can actually end up making better or more informed decisions.
That's so good. I keep sitting here thinking, oh, there's so many things I want to say on that topic because it is so true. We
But you
have
have to
all
listen.
this. That's right. And it was everything in me to keep on listening because women have many words. We have lots of words and we are helpers and we want to give you all the solutions and all the answers. And being that good
Mhm.
listener is just so important. And so when we really think about that listening, it leads us next to the second element in this is those powerful questions. And coaching isn't about having all the answers, even though we're
Mhm.
pretty sure we have
We
them
think we
all,
do.
right? We know we got them all. But it's more about asking the right questions. You alluded to that. So, an example would be to help someone think was, what have you tried so far? Or what is the
Mhm.
biggest challenge in this, right? We want to help them analyze that situation to really stir up that critical thinking. Just, a good example would be like starting meetings with a coaching question. Like,
There you go.
what's one thing we could do differently to improve, right? Because it's going to shift that focus from problems to solutions. And it's such a powerful tool. This is sort of in the lines of this, but every quarter we sit down as a group and I have my team reflect on their area of the ministry. What's
Mhm.
working? What's not working? What needs adjustments? Why do you think it's working? Right? Because I want them to own their area in the ministry. I want them to see that I
Mm.
respect the calling that God has placed on their life, and just equipping them by asking them very important questions so that they can begin that critical thinking process and analyze and really be heard. We talked about that last in our last podcast about the listening, being heard, and it stirs
Hmm.
engagement and ownership and all those things. So recognizing how to use questions powerfully really
Hmm.
is a powerful way to coach your folks to growth. And so with that
Hmm.
in mind, I'm going to pass the ball back to you, and let's talk about encouraging ownership. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I would say that's our key number three of these five is encouraging ownership. When, as you mentioned, when we start a meeting with a question, I think it leads to helping the rest of the team or the rest of that group feel like they're more part of something. And so, great leaders really, the greater leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. And that's what we really should be doing as leaders and influencers is creating more influencers. And I think this system, this tool of coaching helps people take ownership of their work. It's not like I'm working for the organization, I am part of that organization. And when someone sets their own goals within that area, they're more invested in achieving those goals because now they feel like they're part of it. That taking ownership and encouraging the team to be owners of what they're doing builds better teams as well.
Absolutely. And the fourth component in this, right? We're building
Okay.
up, right? We're just building right up is to constructive feedback. Feedback isn't about correcting mistakes.
Mhm.
Sometimes it involves that, but that's not the overarching goal. It's about highlighting strengths and offering those opportunities for growth. So instead of saying you didn't handle that well, or you didn't, right?
Yeah.
Try the I noticed you struggled in the meeting with X, Y, and Z. What do you think went wrong? How can we
Hmm.
approach this differently next time? Right. So turn it again, we're using questions well
Yeah.
to turn that into constructive feedback, which is
Right.
powership because then we're encouraging them to own again. So these, I
Hmm.
hope you guys are seeing how these are all these dots are getting connected, the keys to the puzzle. So what's the final one, Dr. Guy?
Yeah. And I love what you said, that instead of saying you didn't handle that well, that's not going to get anybody on the positive right there. It's like,
Right.
oh, okay, I messed up. So just noticing that they struggle. I thought that's a great one. I think number five is accountability and follow-up. And I explain
Yes.
it this way. Coaching isn't a one and done conversation. That difference between managing and coaching concept, growth happens over time. Growth takes steps, and we need to kind of do some check-ins. Do a little bit of follow-up, do a little bit of accountability, let them know that you actually care. And then at the end of those conversations, those coaching conversations, ask them, what's one action that you feel that you can take before our next meeting or before the next time we have to address this. And then draw it out of them. Oh, but then make sure you follow up. Don't go behind them with a microscope, but just follow up to let them know that you're invested in what they're doing and just kind of do that follow up.
Excellent. And that follow up is absolutely critical because we want to look
It
back
is.
on all of these areas. And then that's where we're asking those questions. That's where we're making those productive adjustments. That's where the engagement's going to happen from the team. We're all coming around this together, whether it's a family meeting, right? Or a board meeting or a staff
Right.
meeting, or heck,
Mhm.
a Sunday school meeting, a classroom, right? However we're applying these things, it is critical to have that accountability, the check-ins and the follow-ups.
Mhm.
Great stuff today. We explored all kinds of different ways of coaching, just these five critical ways to help people grow through coaching, not that
Mhm.
micromanaging, but through that coaching model. active listening. It's just powerful stuff. And so we're going to ask you again, we're going to take this stuff. We want you to apply it right away. Go back to the office, go back home, find one person in your business, in your family, in your ministry that's going to benefit from you coaching them in this way. Get
Mm.
on that phone call with them, whatever that looks like. Just go grab a cup of coffee and ask them some questions. Let them see you deeply listening, right?
Mhm.
Guide them to grow. And again, share this episode. If this is resonating with you, if you are feeling empowered as a leader, that is what we want. We want to make sure we're giving you all the tools so that you can lead and lead well. And so, with that, we're going to ask you to hit like and share with all your peeps and give us some feedback and fill our inbox and let us know how we might continue to equip you. But before we do, we're going to spend some time next week talking about an extension of this. But I want Dr. Guy to give you a final tip and really set you up for what you can expect next time we get together.
Okay, which I think we're going to talk about that grow model we've been alluding to. So we'll
Yes.
kind of detail that out since we're talking about coaching for growth, right? But in reference to coaching with growth, I'd like to end with this. Just remember, it's not about providing answers. We don't grow by always being the answer person. It's about asking those right questions again, and it's ultimately about empowering everyone else and helping them find solutions, not only for themselves, but for the team itself. As influencers, our role is to listen, guide, and support, certainly not to dictate. Growth never really happens through dictate, that being a dictator. It's really through coaching and encouraging and influencing. So something to keep in mind this week as you lead with impact.